to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo Wepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
In a sports headline, SAFA held a send-off celebration for the SA Under-20 men's national football team in Johannesburg. And Christian Horner formerly leaves Red Bull a very rich man. I'll be back with these and other stories at the bottom of the hour.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
Well, thank you to Figile Ngwati with our sports headlines and Jolani Tulongwepe with our news update. It is 12:06 Central African Time and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. Join us in conversation on our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube at Channel Africa 1. On Facebook at Channel Africa, you can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2763 at 406 9126. Hashtag Africa Update and let us know which country you're in. And if you have any stories that you'd like us to highlight or to focus on, send us an email. It is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or give us a call on +2711 714 4459.
Africa Update, your daily dose of African insights with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
Well, today on Hashtag Africa Update Ask, today is International Sign Language Day. And we're asking you if you know how to do sign language and is it important to you to know how to do it? Share your thoughts and your views on all our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2763 9126. Hashtag Africa Update Ask.
Your window to the continent and beyond. Africa Update, only on Channel Africa. Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Es-tu préoccupé par quelque chose? Es-tu passionné par les questions qui comptent? As-tu une voix qui mérite d'être entendue? Eh bien, nous avons la plateforme parfaite pour toi. Téléphone-nous ou fais-nous un WhatsApp au +27 66 408 87 42 et nous te rappellerons. Sois dans la conversation.
Salut Channel Africa, ici Beno le diamant rouge et Binal Sport depuis le Cameroun, le pays des lions. Voilà.
Sois dans la conversation. Il ne s'agit pas seulement de parler, mais c'est d'exprimer ton point de vue, de partager tes opinions et de t'engager avec une communauté qui valorise ton avis. Suivez-nous sur les réseaux sociaux, visitez notre site www.channelafrica.co.za et préparez-vous à partager vos points de vue sur Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
It is 12:08 Central African Time and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. The President of the National Assembly in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Professor Vital Kamerhe, has submitted his resignation to the plenary session. His resignation cites the following reasons: national cohesion, institutional harmony, and to preserve the stability and unity of the country. Now, to unpack this for us, we are joined on the line by our correspondent in the DRC. That's Jimmy Shukrani Bakomera. Jimmy, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you so much.
Now, Jimmy, tell us about this resignation and just the importance of it.
Yes, the resignation of the President of the National Assembly of the DRC was just Dr. Vital Kamerhe was accused in a petition signed by a curtain of deputies in the DRC, which they accused him to destabilize this institution of the Republic of the Democratic Republic of Congo. So after this petition, the President of Assembly have chosen better to resignate to his function as the President of National Assembly in order to allow the good working and the good rulers of activities at the National Assembly. So this is a great challenge in Congolese politics for now, because the UDPS, the part of the President Tshisekedi, is trying just to deny what happened at the National Assembly. But the UNC, the part of Vital Kamerhe, accused some members, the member of the National Assembly Bureau, to be the source of this petition. But Vital Kamerhe chose better to resignate to his function in order to allow and to struggle against some disturbing which can happen at this institution.
Now, Jimmy, I'm going to ask you before we continue. I'm getting some feedback from you. Can you remove me from loudspeaker? Jimmy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. I just need to ask you to remove me from loudspeaker because we're getting feedback and it's not coming through properly.
Let me retry.
Okay. Yeah, I think you've pressed the right button. Now we are good to continue. Now, Jimmy, are you still there? All right. We seem to be having some challenges with this connection. Jimmy, are you there? All right, while Tracy tries to get him back on the line, he is basically taking us through the resignation submission by the President of the National Assembly in the DRC, Professor Vital Kamerhe, submitting his resignation to the plenary session, just citing a number of reasons with national cohesion, institutional harmony, and to preserve the stability and the unity of the country. And Jimmy was just unpacking that for us. Jimmy, are you back on the line? Jimmy?
Yes, I'm on the line.
Perfect. All right, great. Now, Jimmy, just the report itself, tell us about this report that the plenary were to address.
Yes, as I said, the president of National Assembly have just told better to resign to his function, just in order to struggle against this timing which can happen on this institution, because the part of the UNC, the political part of Vital Kamerhe, accused some deputies, some member of the parliament, the Congolese parliament, to be the source of this stabilizer of the National Assembly. So even some of the deputies or the member of this party accuse also the party of the president to be also a source of this petition, which just hold out the president of National Assembly, Vital Kamerhe, to his function. But in the National Assembly, some deputies are just saying that this was not the line of things because of the situation in eastern part of the DRC. Some deputies, some member of the parliament are saying that this petition has not any reason to be on this period, but this institution could just take a time to think about the situation in the DRC and to struggle against insecurity in order to put their thinkings together by doing a petition or addressing a petition to one person, which is Vital Kamerhe. But until now, in his speech yesterday evening in the Palais du Peuple in Kinshasa, Vital Kamerhe have just show his willingness of just allow the good derailment of activities at the National Assembly, and this may be, according to some analysis, is going to give a good climate in Congolese politics and will help other generation or other successor of Vital Kamerhe just to struggle to see the good thing or the good position which they can take face of this situation which is happening in the DRC.
All right. Now, this is not the first time that Professor Kamerhe has resigned. Just tell us exactly how it happened the first time.
Sorry?
Is this the first time that Professor Kamere has resigned, or is it the second time? What is the point that he's making across in terms of the resignations and returning to the assembly? You know, how does it work going forward?
Yes, it's not the first time. This resignation is not the first time, because he was also the president of the National Assembly when the former president Joseph Kabila was on was the president of the DRC. Vital Kamerhe, in his speech, he said about even the first resignation when he was even the president of this institution. For his side, he allows national members of the Congolese parliament that they have a right to evaluate what's getting on, what don't go well in the institution. So on his side, this is an experience. There I'm trying to talk about what he said yesterday. He said that this is an experience which he have received, and since he was he getting in Congolese politics. According to him, it is very important to give the place to the democracy to judge his role and to evaluate if this can stay as the president of National Assembly or if he can just resignate like he did. So
yeah. Well,
Vital
Jimmy,
Kamerhe on his side.
Because of time, I'm going to have to ask you very quickly in literally 20 seconds. There's another story coming out of the DRC with the M23 taking over Nzabira in South Kivu province. Tell us about this. What exactly happened, and are there any solutions?
Yes, after violent clashes happened since Sunday and yesterday, Monday, the M23 taken over the city of Nzabira, which is located in Walungu territory, and this causes the massive displacement of people there. And the M23 accused the Congolese army, FARDC, to be the source of this. But the M23 also accused the Congolese army to attack at first. Until now, there is no news there. But the first is that the city of Nzabira have been taken over by the M23. Yes.
All right, Jimmy, we'll leave it there for today. Thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Thank you so much.
That's our correspondent in the DRC, Jimmy Shukrani Bakomera, ending that discussion. It is 18 after 12 Central African Time.
Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802. We are on OpenView's Audio Bouquet. Channel 628.
Woman-owned Mashudu Tinyiko Consulting prides itself in driving value with a strong emphasis on collaboration and customization. The company is attending the final day of the Standard Bank Top Women Empowerment at the Sandton Convention Centre in Johannesburg, South Africa. Mbegezeli Benjamin Moyo, Associate Director and Head of Business Development at Mashudu Tinyiko Consulting, now joins us on the line. Mbegezeli, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me. Hopefully you can hear me.
Now, tell us about the company and what makes it special.
Well, as you, I think from the way we started, Women Led, I think we just celebrated 10 years, I think, just a few weeks ago. And Women Led, focusing, as you also highlighted, on collaboration and strategic partnership, which has then allowed us to just explore various avenues without literally limiting ourselves. We just specialize being just a solutionist-driven entity, or solutionist thinking entity, where we just so common, specializing mainly on in basic consulting, business consulting work, solving companies' issues, especially with their supply chain issues, and just building better, improving performance processes within the entities, as well as helping them, in some cases, raise funding, and in some cases, manage those funds. So it's a broad offer that we have.
Now, the Standard Bank Top Women Empowerment at the Sandton Convention Centre. Just tell us about your presence there, and what you're going to take away from this 2-day conference.
Well, it's been quite an eye opener for us. Already we're a women-owned entity, but if you look at the challenges that women face and in participating in business, is still dealing with all the issues of all boys clubs and so forth. So this trying to get women integrated into the economy and participate and make meaningful contributions sits at the heart of what Mashuki Kinito as a consulting firm does. One of our major partnerships is been focused on the marginalized in the economy, whether it's rural areas or township economies here in South Africa. So we've partnered with various entities like Township Economic Commission of South Africa, your Royal East. There is a group that has created, the Royal 20, that also focuses on bringing communities from the rural to participate in these economies through the G20 and get the Royal 20 recognized in these G20 conversations, so that even the last person people will think of can participate. So this is everywhere you go, even whether it's a township or it's a rural. There are people doing amazing work that just let that support and the exposure. So that's where this is coming into what we are looking to do, and also looking at opportunities where we can help some of the entities here where we can see they have targets to empower women, but they are failing to reach them. With our partnership with organizations such as CESA, where there are already women-led entities that led some of this funding and support, we could link these and improve also the output for both the marginalized as well as the good companies that are already participating in this. So it's giving us a lot of opportunities to explore these and match the various entities together.
Mbegazeli, thank you so much for joining us on Africa Update. We'll leave it there for today.
Thank you so much.
That was Mbegazeli Benjamin Moyo, Director and Head of Business Development at Mashudu Diniko Consulting, joining us on the line. It is 22 after 12 Central African Time.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
Now, another company in attendance at the conference is Barlow World Limited, a South African industrial processing, distribution and services company. And for more, we are joined on the line by Relebogile Malahlela, Executive Strategic Finance, Barlow World Limited. Relebogile, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon to you.
All right. Now, Relebogile, how important was it for Barlow World to attend such a conference?
Oh, it was absolutely essential, and you know, we are so honored that we were recognized, and Top Women thought it was important and vital for us as a company to actually participate in this important conversation around women. We are a women-led business, and we always find ourselves in those spaces where we talk about women and the prerogative of having women right at the helm of the economy. So it was absolutely important, and we are honored to be here. Thank you very much for asking the question.
Let's chat about leading sustainability through enterprise. Talk to us through about that and just what it means with regards to imparting the strategies that you have as Barlow World, especially for women-owned businesses.
For us, the strategy that we have, at least in the recent past, is that we have delivered the strategy through about 3 pillars that comes to mind, and this is what I spoke about in the morning. The first one is what we call Barlow World Siyakhula, which is an enterprise and supplier development vehicle. And what we do is we invite businesses that are aligned to the businesses that we do as Barlow World to come in and join us as suppliers. And as they come and join us as suppliers, we also provide them seed funding, some of them. We provide them funding to ensure that they have adequate working capital to keep doing the work that we require them to do as our suppliers. So that's really effectively what Siyakhula does. So we become your customers, so we help you find markets, but also we actually help you with the funding that you require. In addition to that, we also provide mentorship from Siyakhula's perspective And we partner with financial institutions that actually help you understand how you need to manage those cash flows that we have imparted and that we have provided to you as a business. So that's really Siyakhula, and this is the crux of what I talked about. I also referred to the two other pillars, which is Mbeu, and Mbeu is an incubator for all social enterprises. This is now us talking sustainability. For all social enterprises in our country that are trying to meet social needs, we provide them incubation through Siyakhula, and we provide them funding. And the third pillar that I referred to and I spoke about this morning was what we call our gender-linked bond. And our gender-linked bond is us getting funding from funders, but then asking the public to actually measure us. And if we do well from our gender targets, we actually then get an advantage on interest, and if we don't do well, we get penalized. So those are the three pillars that we have really managed sustainability and our enterprise management strategy through. Thank you.
Now, Barlow World has, over the years, or since 1902, unbundled various assets, allowing it to focus on core business areas. How important is it for business to review what is important and what can be done away with?
That's just part of our strategy. So we believe that, and we've put our strategy out in the public, that our strategy is to fix, optimize, and grow businesses that aligns to what we are doing. And we believe that we are strong in some areas, and some areas are not necessarily our core. And therefore, as a business, strategy means making choices of what to do, but also making choices of what not to do. And this is what we have done as we have unbundled the businesses. We have focused on our Caterpillar and equipment business because that has been our strength. That has been our strength since 1902. I'm glad that you actually understand that. And we have also looked at our automotive business, which is the business that we mainly unbundled. And we believed that from a funding perspective, they would be served well with different funders and different ownership structures. And that's really what we have done as a business. But one other intentional decision that we also made was we had made a decision that we wanted to exist in the food industry. And therefore, we actually went out to acquire a business we call Ingrain. And Ingrain is our agri-processing and food business. So we are manufacturing what we call maize, what is starch, and we produce glucose in different forms. So that's really the intention, and that's been our strategy. Thank you.
And just in wrapping up very quickly, your takeaway from this 2-day conference that Standard Bank has embarked on.
What an amazing conference it has been. But most importantly, I have marveled at how bold the different businesses and business owners and entrepreneurs are. I have been able to network with various businesses. I have learned so much about what's happening in our economy. Women-led businesses are hungry. They are coming, and I believe they will get what they are looking for.
Relebohile, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Thank you very much.
That was Relebohile Malahlela, Executive Strategic Finance, Barlow World Limited, joining us on the line. It is 28 after 12 Central African time, and join us in conversation on our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2763 as 406 9126 #Africa Update, and let us know which country you're in. And if you have any stories that you'd like us to highlight or to focus on, send us an email. It is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or give us a call on +2711 714 4459. And today on #Africa Update asks, with today being International Sign Language Day, we're asking you if you know how to do sign language, and is it important to you to know how to do it? Share your thoughts and your views on all our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2763 as 406 9126 #Africa Update Us.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
Our news headlines up next with Jolani Tulongwepe.
SABC News. Headlines. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Lulu. Good afternoon. Making headlines, the military-led West African countries Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger have announced their withdrawal from the International Criminal Court, denouncing it as a tool of neo-colonial repression. Voters in Guinea have overwhelmingly backed a new constitution that could allow coup leader Mamadi Doumbouya to run for president if he chooses to. And finally, there's been criticism of President Donald Trump's recommendation against the use of paracetamol during pregnancy because of the risks of autism in the unborn child. I will have details on these and other stories at 1 o'clock.
SABC News. Headlines. The African Perspective. Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
We begin with football news. The South African Football Association, SAFA, in partnership with Bafana Bafana and Amajita sponsor Honor, held a send-off celebration for the SA Under-20 men's national team in Johannesburg on Monday night. The gathering was to honor the youth team for recent achievements, including being crowned 2025 COSAFA Under-20 winners, lifting the CAF Under-20 Men's Africa Cup of Nations trophy, and also qualifying for the FIFA Under-20 Men's World Cup in Chile, in South America, in the process. Amajita have made 4 appearances at the FIFA Under-20 Men's World Cup, with a debut in 1997 in Malaysia, followed by qualifications in 2009 in Egypt, 2017 Korea Republic, and 2019 in Poland. Sports Minister Gayton McKenzie says he believes the boys have what it takes to challenge for top honors.
I know, I was telling the president, you are going to come back with a cup. Don't go and play for yourself, go play for your country. And I'm telling you today, you're going to come back with this cup. I believe in you. I believe in each and every one of you. And in behalf of my president, President Ramaphosa, I want to say that he said that he himself has no doubt that you're going to come back to it. Captain, lead us to victory.
Reigning African champion South Africa will proudly represent the continent alongside Egypt and Morocco. Morocco have been placed in a demanding Group C alongside Brazil, Mexico and Spain, while Egypt will battle host Chile, New Zealand and Japan in Group A. Amajita coach is Raymond Mdaga.
What we normally do, you put more on yourself before you could put more onto the opponents. But obviously, we trying to check everything that we can get. Sometimes very difficult to get some of the information like the New Caledonia and so on. But with the kind of analysts that we have, I think we are able to get something that assists us heading to what how we are prepared.
On to cricket news. South African veteran Proteas wicket-keeper Quinton de Kock has reversed his international retirement after 2 years and has been included in both the ODI and T20 international squads to face Pakistan and Namibia. De Kock retired for 50-over format at the end of the 2023 ICC Men's World Cup and last played T20 cricket in the final of the World Cup in Barbados in June 2024. Coach Shukri Conrad explained that the 32-year-old player is the one who approached him, citing his desire to represent the country in both white ball formats.
No, it was quite interesting when we got to Australia in the middle of the night. We got to Darwin, and I just put my head on the pillow at about 2 a.m. when my phone rang, and it was Quinny. And I chatted for a bit, and I said I'd come back to him in a couple of days, and chatted to a few people, and the rest is history. Great to have him back on board.
And on motor racing, Christian Horner formerly leaves Red Bull, a very rich man with unsated ambitions in Formula One. The severance of the 51-year-old's links with the team he made one of the most successful in the sport was confirmed on Monday. Red Bull gave no details about the settlement terms, but BBC Sport has been told by a source close to the team that Horner secured a payoff worth $65 million. The move frees Horner up to return to F1 in the future if he can find a project that is willing to take him on board. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figile Lingwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Ukatili wa kijinsia unaharibu maisha na kutenga jamii. Hutokea nyumbani, shuleni, kazini na mara nyingi kwa ukimya. Lakini hauwezi kuendelea. Ukiona, ongea. Ikiwa unaumia, funguka, kwa sababu kutofanya lolote sio chaguo. Sikiliza vituo vyote 19 vya redio kuanzia Jumatano ya tarehe 23 Julai kwenye mijadala, ushauri, tamthilia, maonyesho ya elimu na mahojiano na wataalamu, manusura, watunga sheria na nchi nzima iliyoathirika na ukatili wa kijinsia kwenye vituo vyako pendwa vya redio. Piga simu 0800 428 428 ili kuripoti unyanyasaji au kupata msaada. GBV, ikomeshwe na wewe. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwenu na shirika la SABC.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Good afternoon. As the date looms for the expiry of the African Growth and Opportunity Act AGOA in September, analysts say the expiry will likely affect Africa in a number of ways. In Kenya, the sudden end of the deal would endanger the 300,000 direct and indirect jobs in the textiles and apparel sector, while tens of thousands of jobs would also be lost in South Africa. It could reduce Africa's annual exports to the US by about a quarter, representing a 1% reduction in total exports to the world. Analysts say the expiry would also create uncertainty for U.S. companies, and its termination would harm Washington's geopolitical interests. There is still no word from Washington on whether it will be extended or not. Nigeria's Securities and Exchange Commission has issued a directive to fund measures to value bonds based on current prices rather than the original purchase cost. The move, known as mark-to-market valuation, is aimed at improving transparency and aligning asset values with real-time market conditions. Analysts say it will make Nigerian fixed-income assets more easily comparable with global benchmarks, but that funds could now fluctuate with the market, which could lead to potential losses. Statistics South Africa is scheduled to release the South African Producer Price Index data on Thursday, which measures the average change in prices of goods and services sold by manufacturers and producers in the wholesale market during a given period. FNB senior economist Siphamandla Mkhwanazi says that the food component of the producer inflation basket will be key in determining how the August inflation figures look, and he explains why.
Consumers have been grappling with high, especially meat prices. In the previous month, it did show a slight deceleration in meat prices, which should be good news for consumers, because as producers reduce their prices, consumers should also expect that retailers are going to pass on those savings to consumers. So that food component is going to be key for us.
The Asset Forfeiture Unit of South Africa's National Prosecuting Authority has seized just over $254,000 from 24 banks used by Chinese nationals to run a fraudulent social media investment scheme. Their investigations revealed that a group of Chinese nationals paid unsuspecting individuals around $11 to provide them with their details, including their photos. They used the personal details of unsuspecting individuals to siphon money through an online investment scam. It's alleged that those details were then used to open different bank accounts, which were used to conduct multiple fraudulent investment schemes. NPA spokesperson Lumka Mahanjana says that the schemes were advertised and promoted on social media.
The investors were lured into buying non-existing shares in sectors such as household furniture, agriculture and mining, but will not get their promised returns. This operation came to light when the banks alerted the National Consumer Commission about a possible scam. The National Consumer Commission referred the matter to the Asset Forfeiture Unit for financial investigations. The forfeited funds will be paid into the Criminal Asset Recovery Account, ensuring that proceeds of crime are redirected to the state to strengthen the fight against organized crime.
Britain's biggest car maker, Jaguar Land Rover, says it's extending the closure of its factories due to a cyber attack until the 1st of October. This stretches the length of the shutdown to over 4 weeks. The company has been unable to produce cars since the cyber attack at the end of August forced it to shut down its IT networks. Meanwhile, fears are growing that the company's suppliers could go bust without support. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira 493. Botswana 13. Kenya, it's at 128 shilling 52, and Zambia 23 kwacha 70. The BRICS countries, in Brazil the dollar will cost you 5 rubles 33, Russia 83 rubles 37, India 88 rupees 22, China 7 yuan 11, and in South Africa the dollar will cost you 17 rand 32 cents. 74 pence British pound, 84 to the euro. Gold is trading at $3,755 and platinum $1,441 per ounce. Brent crude oil is at $66.48 a barrel. For any business stories you would like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business in Johannesburg, I'm Thabiso Lohoko.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Your window to the continent and beyond. Africa Update. Only on Channel Africa. Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Well, thank you to Thabiso Lohoko with our business news. It is 12:42 Central African Time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. Our South Africa's police chief continued his testimony on day 5 of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry into criminality and political interference in the criminal justice system. General Fani Masimula detailed how he was forced to follow an illegal instruction by Police Minister Senzo Mchunu. He told the Commission this morning that the minister's odd conduct was concerning. At the centre of this inquiry is allegations of the police minister's interference in the work of the police, in particular the political killings task team that, according to the evidence led thus far, seems to be a threat to criminal syndicates linked to the police. It's been alleged that the minister sought to disband the PKTT with immediate effect because it had started investigations into what's been termed the Big Five, a group of individuals that have been using corrupt police as their own subordinates. Two of these, Vusmuzi Kat Matlala and Katiso Mulefe, have been arrested by the PKTT.
Got angry that instead of the work going down, the work was going up, and it was quite strange. It was first in my career to see a minister angry that police have done a good job, because here police have arrested somebody that is linked to the killing of a councillor, and he was angry and that they took over this docket. They didn't make the arrest. Yes, we agree with him. They did not make the initial arrest of the people for possession of firearms. That was done by the local POP. But the PKTT was able to do further investigation, and they linked the suspect to the murder of this cousin. So that made him angry, and it made the meeting end up abruptly, and he said he will only talk to me and not talk to Kumal and the rest. And yes, that what surprised me was exactly that how would you be angry when police did what they're supposed to do?
Masamula says despite a number of attempts to get clarity from the minister regarding the instruction to disband the team, it was never clarified. Instead, he was later told that political killings only happened before 1994. Now, the 110-member PKTT was established in 2018 following an increase in politically related killings, especially in the KwaZulu-Natal province.
The minister later, not immediately, later in that meeting, he responded that political killings took place somewhere pre-1994 and not after. No, that statement is not accurate. It was matters of politicians, reason being related to politics. It's either within a party about issues of succession or from party to another party. That's what we call political killings. So they were happening after 94, even now they're still happening.
The police boss sought to differentiate the work done by the political killings task team with that of ordinary cases usually handled by one or two detectives.
Normally, if you investigate an ordinary murder, you always have two people involved, one having killed the other. And normally it might end up there. The investigation involves just around two people. But with political killings, there is a lot of stakeholders that are involved. There is someone that wants to eliminate the other, and you will go further far to find a hitman, and he will procure or find a firearm, and there will be sometimes people that will spot or track the victim, and eventually the hitman will do his work, and there will be payment. And sometimes the payment is not direct, it's via some other people back to the hitman. So that's how complex these cases are.
That was South Africa's National Police Commissioner Fani Masamula giving his testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry underway in Pretoria, in the capital city of South Africa. It is 12:47 Central African Time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa.
Your window to the continent and beyond. Africa Update, only on Channel Africa. Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
The Pan-South African Language Board is commemorating International Day of Sign Languages under the theme No Human Rights Without Sign Language Rights. The day follows a month-long deaf awareness campaign to raise awareness on South African Sign Language as a language with its own distinct grammatical structure and lexion. To discuss this further, we are joined on the line by Lance Schultz, CEO at the Pan-South African Language Board. Lance, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
A very good afternoon to you, and also good afternoon to all of your viewers and listeners.
Now, tell us more about the International Sign Language Day and just the reasoning behind today.
Thank you very much. So this is an International Day of Sign Languages. We observe it annually on September the 23rd, and it was a date that was really chosen by the founding World Federation of the Deaf in 1951 in Italy. And the day has subsequently been proclaimed by the United Nations also. The first celebrations was held in 2018 as part of the broader International Week of the Deaf. We, of course, celebrate this now also as part of Deaf Awareness Month, which for us is a period dedicated to raising awareness of deaf rights, their culture, as well as the challenges like limited access to education, healthcare, as well as justice. So we're very, very happy to be celebrating it, but also to reflect on the roadmap and where there are areas that we need to improve on in the coming period.
Now, this week is also International Week of Deaf People. Can you tell us more about this week and just what activities are going to be taking place and highlighted particularly for the Sign Language Day and the International Week of Deaf People?
I think the context of this is really the genesis, was where South African Sign Language evolved from very diverse manual systems in, for example, deaf schools in the post-apartheid era, with the requirement for standardization efforts starting in 1990, which we at the Pan South African Language Board actually advocated for. The other very important event that took place was when it received constitutional recognition. You might recall that in July 2023, I was actually with the President at the Union building when the constitutional 18th Amendment Bill was signed, and that gave a very, very specific place in terms of the amendments with Section 6 to ensure that we give equality and dignity and, importantly, social inclusion for deaf citizens. So in terms of the very important week that we are celebrating and the important day as well as the month, there's ongoing implementation with the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities, where we are having conjoined workshops. We're doing interpreter training. We're doing dictionary development. We're also working with the Department of Basic Education in terms of sign language being integrated into the schools and more broadly speaking into Parliament as well as the media. And although challenges persist, such as limited deaf accessible tertiary education, we continue to advocate for the standardization and the continued incremental rollout to ensure that no one is left behind.
Mm-hmm. And just what are some of the challenges that face the deaf community?
Some of the challenges that we face is different dialects being used across various provinces. People don't have an appreciation that actually sign language does have dialects which manifest itself throughout our provinces. So one of the key challenges is to ensure that we standardize that, and that is why one of our structures in PANSAL is the national language body responsible for SASL that will ensure that that standardization takes place. Another pervasive challenge is the lack of full media support in terms of providing sign language interpreting services, particularly on important engagements such as news and other key events that are usually translated into their viewership. And this is one of the areas where we would like to start partnering with other media houses. SABC has been very progressive in that regard. Another area is to ensure the resourcing in all of our provinces, because one of the biggest laments that we have from the deaf community is that when they go and try and access services in hospitals, when they go and try and depose affidavits at police stations and other public areas, they find that they do not have a sign language interpreter. And as a result, these usually come as linguistic human rights violations, and then we as PANSAB have to get involved. So I think it's incumbent upon the various government departments that when this now gets officially promulgated, that they are at a state of readiness. And those are the things we need to work. And then lastly, ensuring that no learner is left behind, that the schools are properly capacitated, that we ensure that learning and teaching is actually availed to all of our children that require this type of services.
And how important is it to bridge the communication gap between the hearing and the deaf community?
Very important. We actually have done a series of investigations culminating into a study And lamentably, we had found that a lot of deaf children actually have hearing parents and hearing parents that cannot sign. And this is through legacies of not being able to go for adequate training. And this is one of the areas that we are giving significant attention to by providing basic as well as more advanced training for sign language, particularly to these parents. One of the other pervasive challenges that we face is the deaf community stating that they still do not feel that they are included. And if they are in the company of people that cannot sign, they feel that we should embark on comprehensive programs so that those that interact more regularly with the deaf actually at least they've got some elementary training so that they can engage with them. And this is a basic form of communication. So we encourage civil society. We are providing various courses, and one of it is the basic course. There are some universities also such as VIT and others that are also offering basic sign language courses. And we think to improve the level and the parity of esteem for South African Sign Language, we do encourage active citizenry and members to go and take up these courses.
Now, you speak, Lance, of sign language courses at whether university level and so on, but accessibility to sign language training, is it a case of just people not being able to have access to training? Is it a specialized skill? How do people? How does one just can an individual just set up training lessons or lessons for people who are interested? How does it work?
I think that's a very good question. What we do encourage is to ensure that there's an understanding of the ongoing commitment of professionalizing the training for South African Sign Language. And we don't encourage people to just arbitrarily go and receive training anywhere. And they are welcome to go onto the PANSAL website. We do regularly provide updates in terms of the curriculum and the various basic sign language courses which we are doing. As I said, we have partnered with various other government departments also, so that we can get scale and we can ensure that we can roll these courses out on a national level. So the primary concern that we have is that we still do have in various sectors training that is being provided which is not accredited, or training that has not ensured that it complies with the orthography that we set through our South African Sign Language national language body.
And it would be interesting just to find out if you're maybe even thinking or considering introducing sign language in just the education system from an early age, whether it's for the deaf community, but mainly for the hearing community, just to start learning from an early age, which would make society, I guess, create a lot easier way of young people and adults to end up learning how to sign language.
Absolutely, and it really does start with early childhood development. And we must say that we have partnered with the Department of Basic Education to ensure there's accessibility. There are already a number of schools which we've piloted predominantly in Gauteng. And I think that model is one of excellence, and the intention is, in our work with the department also, is to ensure that we can roll that out as a model throughout the country. We have found a significant uptake also of people of hearing capability that have actually got even their children enrolled in that course, particularly when they are deaf children and need to communicate through sign in these various schools. So it really does start at ECD into the primary school, and of course the journey then goes on into more advanced and more complex understanding, but more so also the more advanced courses can be then done at high school and into university levels.
Lance, we have run out of time, and thank you so much for joining us. We'll leave it there for today. That's Lance Scholz, CEO of the Pan South African Language Board, joining us on the line. And Tebogo Kuleni of the Upside team is here. And it's a happy Tuesday, isn't it?
Happy Tuesday to you. I should actually be saying, hello, Lulu.
Hello.
How are you?
I am well, thank you.
Very quickly, here's what's coming up on the show this afternoon. We talk about Johannesburg's first salon designed to give both kids and parents a space where style meets comfort, play, and care. We'll be in conversation with Sheila Litwaba, founder of Amara and Friends, a space where you can get groomed together as a family. Not just the parents, not just the daughters or the girls or the boys, the whole family. Can be groomed under one roof. Then we get into an opinion piece titled Ramaphosa, the latest chapter in a century of betrayal, with Reverend Muhau Kumalo, who is basically questioning and saying that Ramaphosa is not only undermining the ANC's revolutionary legacy, but is actively handing power back to colonial and capitalist interest. Very deep and interesting conversations we'll be having today.
Definitely. That's coming up at the top of the hour with Tebogo Kuleni and Matsuko Musito. For myself, Lulu Gaboo, and the Africa Update team, our producer Tracy Bumga, technical operator Katu Madava, and social media Sfiso Hlope and Talent Butelezi. It's been a good one. Let's do this again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
SABC News. The African Perspective.